The mustard seed was the smallest known seed in Palestine, yet it could grow into a large bush. Jesus' point is not about the quantity of faith, but about its authenticity and rootedness in God.
मूलं समीक्ष्य यत्र गम्यताम् सर्वेषां मार्गं तथैव प्रवृत्ति.
Sisters and brothers, a very hearty welcome to each one of you to the 27th Sunday in the ordinary time of the liturgical year. This Sunday, we hear three desperate cries that resound in our ears intensely. First, the prophet Habakkuk begins with a cry that resonates deeply with all of us. He cries out, "How long, O Lord, must I call for help, but you do not listen? Or cry out to you violence, but you do not save?" This is the universal human experience when we look around at the injustices, violence, corruption, wars, and personal suffering. We feel abandoned. I believe faith often begins in struggle. Yet God answers Habakkuk. The vision awaits its time, but the righteous shall live by faith. In other words, we may not see immediate answers, but faith sustains us until God's promises are fulfilled. Secondly, in the Gospel of the day, the disciples cry out, "Lord, increase our faith." Like Habakkuk, they recognize their weaknesses. Jesus responds not by giving them a magical increase, but by pointing to the power of even a little faith. A mustard seed of faith can uproot a mulberry tree. What matters is not quantity, but the authenticity and persistence of faith. Then Jesus adds the parable of the servant. We are not to see faith as a way of earning rewards, but as a humble response to God's grace. True discipleship means serving faithfully without entitlement, knowing that faith itself is a great gift. Thirdly, through the second reading of today, St. Paul cries out by writing from prison to Timothy and gives us the practical key. Stir into flame the gift of God, for God did not give us a spirit of fear, but of power, love, and self-control. Yes, faith is not passive. It needs to be stirred, rekindled, exercised. It empowers us to endure suffering for the gospel without shame. Faith gives us strength to face life's Habakkuk moments with hope and courage. Sisters and brothers, we notice here that the disciples are not asking for material gifts or wisdom. They realize that following Jesus requires faith beyond their own strength. Faith is the foundation for forgiveness, for perseverance in trials, and for living as true disciples. I would like to bring before you an incident that is narrated to me about a couple. This couple, unfortunately, had no children. But one thing is very sure: they loved each other so much. The woman had an elderly mother whom she loved so much and whom she was taking care so carefully. At the ripe old age, of course, this mother of hers died. That was a shattering moment in her life. Many of her friends came and consoled her, but she was so much affected by the death of her mother. Her husband, of course, stood by her. He wanted to do everything that was within his reach. She was still inconsolable. Through the grace of God, as well as the supports that were given by all her friends, she began to slowly recover the pain of the loss of her mother. It was at that time her husband told her, "We shall do one thing. We will go to the houses of your friends and tell them that we are so grateful for their support and love." But she said something very strange. "I will write a letter to each one of them, thanking them from the bottom of my heart and express to them my love and affection." The husband agreed to it, and she wrote wonderful letters to all her friends for the support and love that they extended to her in the grieving moment of her life. And she put it in an envelope, pasted it, and entrusted all these letters to her husband. He gladly accepted it and agreed that he would post it. A few days later, happy as she was cleaning her house. As she was sweeping the house, she saw the racket case of her husband lying down on the ground. She took it up and found its pocket bulging out. She opened it, and to her shock, she found that all the letters that she had entrusted her husband to post were there in this case of the racket. That was the shocking moment of her life. She was shattered to the core. As her husband came back, she did not talk to him anything, but he understood what the reason is. He begged her pardon, but she was still inconsolable. And he took courage to do one thing. He knelt down before her and told her, "I'm sorry. I shall do anything that you tell me to do." That was the moment of grace. She lifted him up and told him, "It does not matter. I know you did not do it knowingly. It was an accident, but of course it pained me. I will do one thing. I will trust you more than ever because you have such love for me." Yes, my sisters and brothers, the faith of this woman in her husband, despite the mistake that he did, is an eye-opener for all of us. When you have faith in the other, you will forgive, you will persevere, and you will give up your bargain. Yes, the mustard seed was the smallest known seed in Palestine, yet it could grow into a large bush. Jesus' point is not about the quantity of faith, but about its authenticity and rootedness in God. Even the smallest genuine faith can achieve the impossible, not because of human strength, but because God works through it. Jesus then shifts the focus. Faith is not about personal gain or spiritual bargaining. Just as servants serve their master out of duty and love, disciples must serve God faithfully without expecting praise or reward. Faith expresses itself in humble, ordinary obedience, in daily duties, in love, in service. In the concrete context of our country, India, I notice a person who lived this spirituality of deep faith. Saint Mariam Thresia, the foundress of the Congregation of the Holy Family, is a shining witness to this gospel. Mariam Thresia was born into a poor family in Kerala and faced many hardships, illnesses, opposition from family and society, and even misunderstanding from church authorities. Yet, like the mustard seed, her faith, small, hidden, fragile, became a mighty tree that gave shelter to countless families through her ministry. She never sought recognition or reward, countering the oppositions from various corners, including a male-dominated society at that time and even authorities in the church. She served families in their deepest struggles, such as broken marriages, neglected children, the sick, and the dying. She often said that her mission was to visit families, help them, and bring Christ crucified into their homes. This was her way of humbly fulfilling God's will, like the servant in the parable. She stirred into flame the mystical gift of faith. Mariam Thresia lived a deeply mystical life of prayer, yet she also turned her love for Christ into concrete action for others. She bore physical sufferings and even mystical wounds, but instead of withdrawing, she channeled her faith into family apostolate, strengthening marriages, reconciling differences, and guiding children. Her congregation's spirituality emphasizes compassionate love emanating from deep union with the crucified Lord. Mariam Thresia's life teaches two things about faith. Faith is powerful even in small measure when rooted in God. It is lived out in humility and service, not in self-glory. Sisters and brothers, we live in a time very similar to that of Habakkuk. Wars, violence, corruption, divisions in families, uncertainties about the future. Often we are tempted to cry, "Lord, where are you?" The liturgy of the word reminds us today that faith is not about doing great, extraordinary things. It is about living daily life with humble trust and service. Like the disciples, we may feel that our faith is too small, too weak, and too fragile. We may ask, "Lord, increase our faith." Like Paul, we must turn into flame God's gift, overcoming fear with courage, love, and discipline. Like Saint Mariam Thresia, we too can let faith blossom in our families, workplaces, and parishes, bringing healing, reconciliation, and Christ's love where it is most needed. Sisters and brothers, let us remember, faith is not an escape from life's struggles, but the strength to endure them and transform them. Amen.
समीक्ष्य यत्र गम्यता सर्वेषां मार्गः तथैव प्रवृत्तिः